Hey Leo, we're going to play a little game in your reading. A little game. Leo, immediately, you're in a rush, because I'm in a rush for some reason, to your energy. You want something, you want to prove something, you want to do something. Really quickly though, before I lose a train of thought, Leo, if you're seeing this reading, it is included in the series that I'm doing on this channel for the School of Athens. This is a very specific reading that I'm doing specifically for all the zodiac signs. If you're seeing this reading, Leo, I'm basing the zodiac signs off of the philosophers depicted in the School of Athens fresco by Raphael Sanzio, depicted in the Vatican of Rome. Okay? I've been there personally, I've seen the fresco personally, and I now own my own copy, which was recently gifted to me from a close friend. I'm very happy to have this piece back in my possession. But we're here to discuss philosophy, the tarot, wisdom, and maybe see if we can somehow link the two with hermetics and everything else. So far we've done so good, so far so good, and that's really what I want to tell you, Leo. So far so good. I do feel something in your energy though, where it's almost like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you're waiting for some sort of counter argument against your theory. Something you're trying to prove. Could even simply be something you're trying to prove to yourself, about yourself, to others, some persona. Leo, the philosopher chosen for you today is Plato. You were given Plato. And a quote, direct quote from Plato is, "The measure of a man is what he does with power." The measure of a man is what he does with power. And Leo, as you know, you're represented as the strength card in the standard Rider-Waite. You are strength. You are power. You are serious. You are very serious is what I also felt the need to say just now. Something about you is you're serious about something. You're serious about what you know, about what you're doing. But maybe there's something you feel the need to have to prove about that. Leo seeks truth, legacy, and leadership. Plato's world of ideal forms and his role as a philosophical visionary align with Leo's majestic and expressive nature. Before we dive into the fresco, let's pull a quote from Plato in the Dialogues of Socrates. Now, I was already getting so many downloads for you in regards to Plato and Socrates, who are also featured right next to each other in the fresco. So I'll show you in just a moment, but their backs are turned to each other. Again, we're going to look at the symbology. So there's something you were disagreeing. You know what? Fudge it. I better show you before I forget. Really quickly, we're going to jump on this train of thought, then we get back to a quote. So here we see Plato and Socrates depicted here. Socrates' back is to Plato. Okay? Socrates is in conversation in a school of thought over here next to Alexander the Great, and I forget the name of this person. We will look him up in just a moment, not necessarily important, but he's in discussion over here, discussing dialogues, having dialogue, having a discussion. Plato's in discussion with Aristotle, discussing the higher meanings of life. Where does life come from? So maybe there's a mentor or a teacher or someone maybe you're in discussion with or disagreement with, because again, Socrates' back is to Plato, and Plato is kind of ignoring. He's in his own train of thought over here. He's in his own conversation with another important figure, which would be Aristotle. And it's also like I'm getting, maybe you're having different conversations with different people about opposing viewpoints, something like that. So we're kind of looking into that. I'm just already getting the downloads or what I see the trajectory of this reading going for you, Leo. So now, before I lose my train of thought here, let's grab a quote from Plato. I'm just turning to any random place in this book, and we're going to see what we get, okay? All right. We turn to symposium. Okay, I'm drawn to page 96. 96 is a spiritual number. You may want to check that out for yourself. Okay. But I will do my utmost to inform you, and do follow if you can. For he would proceed aright in this matter. For he who would proceed aright in this matter should begin in youth to visit beautiful forms, and first, if he be guided by his instructor aright, to love one such form only. Out of that he should create fair thoughts, and soon he will of himself perceive that the beauty of one form is akin to the beauty of another. And then if beauty of form in general is his pursuit, how foolish would he be not to recognize that the beauty in every form is and the same. And when he perceives this, he will abate his violent love of the one, which he will despise and deem a small thing, and will become a lover of all beautiful forms. In the next stage he will consider that the beauty of the mind is more honorable than the beauty of the outward form. So that if a virtuous soul have but a little comeliness, he will be content to love and tend him, and will search out and bring to the birth thoughts which may improve the young, until he is compelled to contemplate and see the beauty of institutions and laws, and to understand that the beauty of them all is of one family, and that personal beauty is a trifle. And after laws and institutions he will go on to the sciences, that he may see their beauty, being not like a servant in love with the beauty of one youth or man or institution, himself a slave, mean and narrow-minded, but drawing towards and contemplating the vast sea of beauty, he will create many fair and noble thoughts and notions in boundless love of wisdom, until on that shore he grows and waxes strong, and at last the vision is revealed to him of a single science, which is the science of beauty everywhere. Wow, the science of beauty everywhere. I think that's your download, Leah. You're learning how to see beauty. I just wrote Cancer. Maybe you're dealing with a Cancer, or maybe you're in discussion with a Cancer. I don't know Plato's zodiac sign, or Socrates for that matter, but there could be some discussion here going on. The beauty, the science of beauty everywhere. Right? Is that it? Yeah, which is the science of beauty everywhere. Beauty everywhere. Okay. Remember, guys, this is the deep dive into the School of Athens. I feel like, though, Leo, you're having an important discussion, or maybe even with yourself. You're trying to see there isn't one way to do something. There isn't one approach to something, one method to something. In fact, because perception, right, is like a mirror. It's a glass, and it's through the eye of the beholder. It's through the viewer, the lens of the viewer. And how we perceive things, we can all look at one object and see something completely different. I think I did this on my channel a while ago. Like, if I hold this obelisk this way, you're going to say it's a square. And if I show another person and show them the same object, right, and I show it to them this way, they're going to say, no, it's an obelisk, it's a pyramid. And if I hold it this way, who knows, maybe someone say, no, it's a triangle, something like that. But really, it's all of it. It's all of these forms. But because of our lens of perception, we see it differently. If that makes sense, that's the best way. Someone would say, Plato would say, or Aristotle would say, you're all wrong. And then maybe Plato would say, actually they're all right. Or maybe even Socrates would say, you're all right. And technically you are. You all are right. Maybe there's some conversation going on where you're trying to prove someone wrong. Or we're entering this age of reason, right, where we're so sharp left-brained or being so sharp left-brained or so sharp right-brained about a situation. But for a while, I think what Saturn is moving into Pisces now, but that's going to call into question to make us have to question our discipline and our realities and put reason into our thoughts. Believe it or not, Pisces are actually very scientific minded, even though they fall into the realm of mysticism and can get lost. We can get lost in the duplicity, right? They can get lost in the Waverly energy, but most Pisces I've ever met are actually very logical. Okay? I'm a Libra, so I'm naturally logical, but most Pisces I've met are actually pretty logical because they have to make so much sense of their reality, if that makes sense. Leo. Maybe this discussion you're having is because you need to gain some sort of power of perception over another person to get them to do something that you need them to do or want to do. I'm not sure. Let's break out the tarot from Da Vinci. Page of Fire. News. He looks kind of angry at something. He's very intent. I've never noticed that. His eyes are intent. They're kind of black, too. And Magician. Yeah, something you're trying to create. But you're an inventor, builder. And also remember that Da Vinci is depicted as Plato in Raphael's School of Athens. You have an interest in something. Maybe you have an interest in someone or someone has an interest in you. Okay, Leo. What's the situation for Leo, please? What is the situation? Too much, too much, too much. Just turn to the moon, though. The moon energy. Conception. Conception. Something's hidden from you. A conception is hidden from you. Cancer energy again, and or Pisces. So maybe you have those in your chart. The situation is the Tower. Ooh, deluge. Deluge. The Tower. That is the situation, Leo. Deluge. You are the Empress. Wow. Taurus Libra here. You could definitely be the Empress yourself or sat in this energy, productivity, growth, expansion. Maybe you're killing one thing to embrace another. Where Leo should focus. Taking action on your passions with the Knight of Fire, moving in that direction, the direction that you want to go, frankly. And I feel like telling you to go with all abandon. Maybe you have a tower can represent enlightenment, a stroke of enlightenment. Typically it represents things being knocked down. It's an ideal about yourself, maybe even a realization because, Your crown chakra usually gets hit with some realization or perception. Could be about a person, or maybe someone's having this perception about you. Outcome. Actually, this is where you should not focus. I'm sorry. I guess this would be the lovers, the twins. Number 6. The lovers. Where not to focus. Outcome. For you. 2. We have the 7 of water, which is the 7 of cups, and the 3 of water conjunction. 10 cups total. There's some sort of reconciliation and a merging, or a path of ideas. But there's confusion around this 7 of cups. It's a little bit of self-sabotage and overwhelm. Maybe someone's feelings quite literally overwhelm them when it concerns you. Illusion. You don't know how or if you should reconcile with a person or thing or situation. It's overwhelming. It's saying judgment, that you're going in the right direction with renewal. Judgment. Judgment call. Second chance. The eagle could be significant to you. That could be a symbol or a spiritual sign for you at the moment. The eagle, again, representing your higher vision, a higher knowing, a different perspective. Also, eagles, I'm getting so much about dinosaurs here lately, and I'm hearing like apex predator, that sort of thing. Leo, you are the apex predator. You're a lion, okay? You're the apex predator. Renewal. Someone's under judgment about their work, labor. You could be receiving seeing some sort of vast change, and it looks like a lot of people are involved in this. You could work with crews, a lot of people in your work, crewmen, that sort of thing. There's a lot of people involved in what you do. I just heard firefighter in my mind. We see a lot of fire show up, so fire, crews, there's something about we're needing to renew something, right? Renewal, giving a sense of renewal. And there's a lot of water. Where do we aim this fire? At the lovers. And we have justice here. We could work in law enforcement for sure. With experience here, you know where to aim the fire. You know where to guide people out of a situation. You know how to guide somebody out of a situation with the 6 of air. You know how to get people to water, get them to safety, and technically it's something about walking away for your own good with the 8 of water here. Wheel of Fortune time. I'm going to stop there. Fated events. You're saving somebody, Leo. You probably don't even know that. I'm getting you saving someone's life. You don't know that you have saved people's lives. You've saved someone's life. Leo. Wow. That's a big message, actually. You saved someone's life from a tower. This could be a smoke signal. This could be a building on fire, right? From a tower. You could have saved your own mother. A mother figure. You came in. Twins. I hope this is not a future prediction, but you guys are dealing out there in the real world, so whoever comes across this reading, you know if this was your story or not. That is what this energy is telling me. What is the advice for Leo, please? Maybe the moon. Conception. Alright. Yeah, give up the 5 of air. Don't argue about what to do, how to do it. There is dialogue around that. How do you save someone? Well, maybe someone's impressed or amazed at how you saved yourself. There's something about that, Leo. Not that it's about the other person, but there is a something about you that was hidden the whole time. The work that you do is hidden. And it's uncertain because the moon is here. You need to conceive it in order to believe it. And maybe that's the point. And just jumping back to Socrates here for some reason and Plato, I'm really feeling this argument happening here right now under the surface. But what it's telling me these philosophers would have existed towards the same time period because they're depicted in the school of Athens. We see that philosophers, the closer they are to us, the viewer, the closer they are to our time. They are the younger generation of philosophers, the closer that they are to us. The further back they are, the farther back in time and history they go. This argument has lasted for a very long time. This particular discussion that we're having now has been argued and debated for a very long time, okay? So something we're in discussion about, though, maybe where does our knowledge come from? Where does our wisdom actually come from? Classically, Plato would describe our knowledge comes from the heavens, okay? Socrates would probably say something to the effect that we are ignorant, right? And he who can admit to his own ignorance is probably trustworthy, a trustworthy person. When you can admit when you don't know something, even if you do know, intuitively you know, and that's it. Intuitive knowledge versus factual knowledge, right? That's what we're discussing here. How do you know that you know? Because Plato would say, I have the intuitive knowledge. It is given to me from the divine, right? Classically, okay? Socrates would say, though, that it's better for man to admit to his own ignorance rather than claim he knows everything. It's okay to admit when you don't know something. It's probably safe to admit that too. So if there's something you don't know, Leo, maybe even about your profession or something you're doing, it's better to admit that you don't know and ask for help. That's also a good semblance here with pointing up. Ask for help. If you don't know, ask. That's your message. Leo, if you don't know, ask. Ask the divine. Also ask your higher self, or ask someone around you. Make it practical. Get out in front of somebody who may have more experience than you. We saw experience here. Someone who may have more experience, knowledge, or practicality than you in a certain matter. Get their input on what you need. That's also a divinely led conclusion. The divine would be like, hey, I presented you an opportunity to engage with someone who can help you discern this thing that you're confused about. Take advantage of this opportunity and talk to them about it. Okay? That's what, solve your own problem by the divine solution I put right in front of you. Could be even in the form of a person. Okay, Leo, that's your message. I hope you found it useful. I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.